Hi, hi. How's everybody doing? How is everybody doing today? Oh, chat, don't you worry. Before you all freak out too much, let me actually walk you through this real quick. So. This is actually a unique program. Do you see, like, the background moves when I move? Look at this. Isn't that cool? Do you like my bedroom? Chat, I recently acquired the back room. Do you like it? And do you know what, chat? This bedroom is 100% not AI. I don't know if our other background was AI, but I kind of like this vibe. What do you think? For some just chatting bits and stuff. Nice, huh? Don't worry, we'll still have the normal background like when I was chatting. But, you know, I like this. I like this. I like this. So, lovelies. Okay. Let's start off with, you know, everything. So I spoke to the flock today. And the flock bears grave news. But also, I've had random information brought to me. That first off, unfortunately, lovelies, we cannot get a G-Subs affiliation yet because they are closed currently for affiliation status. They might reopen this winter, so we might need to wait a bit before we can, you know, get to that point. But yeah, it's going to take a bit. I do have 2 people currently working on, like, trying to get me in. But that one is definitely a no-go at this time. But, I am looking at companies currently. So I'm going to be doing some really hardcore social media posting and YouTube and TikTok because we're going to get together. Not we're. Sorry, chat. I'm going to, you're not me, chat. You're not part of this. No. I know you did, Aura. But I've had a few things. We are going to get social media stuff going. Not we are. Okay. Whew, there's just me. It's just me. You guys are here too, but you aren't doing my stuff. I am going to be getting together a press package just so that I can, apply cran raspberry. No, you're part of this. You are part of this, chat. Chat, you're part of this. But I need to stop saying we because I'm doing these things. I can't expect you all to be doing these things for me. So, okay. I need to make a press package so that, like, when I go apply for sponsorships and things, I can, like, show them my stats. The problem is Gene has been exclusively focusing on Twitch, a little bit on Twitter, not at all on YouTube, and certainly not on TikTok. On Instagram, I don't even have an Instagram. So, for 1 month, the next month, I'm going to be hardcore trying to post on there. If you all have any ideas, or you take any clips, or you have any sort of meme or anything that you think would be funny, send it my way. Please. I will make just about anything just to have something to post. We're going to take about a week to make stuff first. We'll see how that goes. And then, yeah, we're going to try to drive up those numbers. But we do have a coffee flavor in the works, potentially. I might be getting a coffee flavor. So if you all are interested in VTuber coffee and you all like coffee, we may be getting that sponsorship too. I am going to be signing up for merch as well to see if I can start selling some merch. Of course, some of these are like you have to sell so many before they'll produce it, or like they'll do it, but you have to have like a certain pre-order. It is what it is. But I want to get my numbers up high because the higher my numbers are for like Twitter and all that stuff, the better cool packages we get. Okay. Like I can only get like shirts as the first one, but if we have a bunch of Twitter followers, we have a bunch of presents, guess what we can get? Plushies and blankets and stuff. Is the coffee gonna smell like wet dog and taste like Big Macs? No. Hi VO, how you doing? Ico all day. But yes, so the flock has brought good news. This could potentially go extremely, extremely well. I'm looking forward to it. Also, as of this month, this last 30 days, we have hit a 40 average viewer count. Now, that's between ASMR and gaming, so, it is what it is. But I did say when we start getting into the 50 average, I'm going to start looking at doing a fundraiser for trying to get that 3D model. I've already bought the 3D hand tracker. I will be getting the VR headset. I have one right now that I can work with, but there's another one that I want to get. So there is already stuff in the works for that. That'll probably be coming, though, like near the end of the year or maybe the start of next year. Just a heads up. So save your money, chat. Don't be spending too much money on me. Or you don't have to give me anything, chat. If I sit here and stream for 24 hours and I just be stupid for 24 hours and we raise $0, I will still have had a good time. I'll have a story to tell, and I'll have got to hang out with all of you. It's not on you all to fund my dream. I need to put in the work, too. But seriously, you all have been amazing. So very lovely, and I hope you all know how much I really, really do appreciate you. And I don't mind taking the help. If you ever want to help, you can. But you don't have to, okay? Whether that is just by being here and talking. Just by being here and talking is a lot of help. Being part of this community, being fans, making art, just being fucking cool. That's all I need. I don't need more than that. Thank you so much for the follow, Minty, for you. Hi. Oh, also, one last... That's a problem. Well, actually, you know, that would be crucified. That'd be kind of funny though, because Primus has the Primus sucks slogan. Imagine my slogan is Gene hates us. Gene, he hates us. But honestly, yes, the maid shirt is a genius idea. I mean, like, I think you guys could make such cool shirts. We just need to have a big enough fan base that people want to wear me enough, or have the shirts cool enough that they aren't just my, oh my god, your emotes have little arms. Look at that. Hi. How you doing, Minty? I was gonna say something. Oh, geez, there goes my brain. I get too excited sometimes. Oh, last thing. Okay. I spoke to the flock about the idea of doing the writer month, and the flock has expressed interest in helping with the writer month, where we will be writing a novel in 1 month, 1,667 words, because a lot of the writer community has kind of like split up, and there's no central place for it, and so we could become a central place for writers. So, workshopping names for the event. We'll be trying to get in contact with a few different writers, get a presence out there into the world, and hopefully it goes well, you know? And I hope all of you feel comfortable enough to join in on the event. Write a little bit every day, and anybody who does succeed and finish will get a hand-signed letter from me. It'll be rest of it will be typed out because my handwriting's awful, but it will be a personalized letter for everybody who does finish the event. I just want you all to write. Everybody should have a chance to write a book. Get your stories out there. Y'all have great stories. Y'all have had amazing things. If you write a collection of short stories, that counts too. But write. Before AI does all the writing for us. Okay. We still have about 10 minutes before we get to gaming. So how's everybody doing? How has everybody been doing? What have you all been up to now that we've done a collection of everything? Oh, you want to talk about the writing? Yeah, of course. So, here's how it works. You can do any sort of planning you want in advance, but you cannot write the story yet, okay? If you want to do some planning now, that's fine. If you want to, like, maybe flesh it out a tiny bit, being like, okay, this is going to happen, this is going to be happening, you can do that too. I suggest, though, going into it blind. It's a lot of fun if you come up with the idea as you go and just write. The idea of this is that you write 1,667 words every single day. It seems like a lot of words, but it's really not. If you're dedicated and you just nonstop write, you can knock it out in 30 minutes. You don't edit. You do not edit. You do not change anything. You write. Because if you write every day and you just get it out on paper, by the end of 30 days or 31 days, 1,667. 1,667. If you write it every day for 30 days or 31 days, by the end of it, you have 55,000 words, which is almost enough for a novel. It's a very good start. The average novel is about 60,000 to 120,000 words. So this gets you right at the start for a really nice draft. Or you can just publish that. You can make it a novella. And it just gets all your ideas out on paper. You have a story that you can work with. It's so good. And the thing is, though, you don't have to do it all in one day. You know, you can write 2,000 words one day, maybe a little bit less other days. Everybody has a different way of doing it. The ideal way is 1,667. But the goal is just to start writing, get in the habit, and get through it. And you can do this. Anybody can do this. Trust me, you don't feel creative enough right now. You might think that you have no story in your head. All you do is write. I use an app that will delete your writing if you quit writing. And so it encourages you to not stop writing. You can't go back. You can't edit. You just write. I knocked out all the words in 30 minutes. My hands hurt, but it's so easy. Yeah. Well, the idea is that you write it every day. The idea is that you do it every day because you want to build up the habit. The goal is just the habit. Because if you finish by the end of it and you learn to write every single day, guess what? You can pump out books all year. You can be a Stephen King and pump out so many books. It's all you need. All you need. Nope, genre doesn't matter. You can write poems, you can write stories, 1,667 every day until the end. I got a lot more than a new background. Look. But anything at all. Yes, but Crucified, I want to work with some of the platforms who do it currently for like international shipping. So that's why I'm trying to get these sponsorship things going. Because while I could get it for our community, I'm worried more about the quality and having somebody else produce it. But yeah. Ow. Plus, if our content is on a VTuber page with a lot of other people's stuff, I mean, like, the goal is if we can get on that merch store and everybody can see us there, then people will be like, oh my God, who's Gene? Let's go check him out. And then we make our own Etsy store and we make our own permanent store. Yeah. We do have so many international. And also trying to get it to the States from like Chinese factory is really difficult. So, ow. Yes. Yes. Honestly, though, I want to think if maybe I can talk to Vanya, because Vanya is in China. Maybe I could get her to go to a factory for me and test quality. Vanya's going to be my feet on the ground in China. That's the goal. Hello, Carmia. How you doing? Hi, Snowfang. Hi, Moxie. Okay. So, first off, let me give a thank you so much for Taiga getting first, Pink getting second, Kimizu. Hello, Kimizu. How you doing? Thank you for getting third. Oh, thank you for the hydrate. Sorry, I missed that. Ow. Also, I'm trying a higher resolution on my model. We'll see how that works. If it lags a bunch, let me know, and I'll lower the resolution, okay? Because right now it's at 1920 by 1080. So we'll see. You're distracted by the printing. I know, right? I think this is going to be really good for like D&D storytelling or working on D&D stuff tomorrow. We're going to do it in this screen. Enjoy. And also, watch this. You ready? Dark mode. Now we're all spooky. And the other one still exists, but this is like a separate app that I use. I run it through a separate application. I mean, we can also do stuff like this. Here, I'll show you. We can throw into pixel. We can throw into film mode. We can do like noir. Another film mode, pixels. There's a scene I like for karaoke. Boop, 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 boop. And we can do this cool camera effect thing where it swaps around and it does different camera angles while I'm singing. Boop, 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 boop. And then it'll swamp. It just swamps angles a little bit, you know? We can do, that's awful. Back shadows. We can do some weather. Rain. I can do all sorts of little things, and like the one we're in right now has a lot of different filters here, so I can swap between like, you know, different vibes. We can go, you know, more vintage style. I mean, look at that. Isn't that nice? And we have an outline right now. I like this one a lot too. The mono red. Oh my God, I realize it's mono red, chat. Wait, because I'm red, I stick out so much. This one is really cool. Oh, that's so awesome. But then you can do monochrome natural, mono soft, clean, warm. Oh, a bunch of different stuff, you know? I might stick to mono red for a little bit, actually. Wow. Really question something really quick to your demo reel. Yeah, what's up, Mitchie? Go ahead and ask. What's going on? I honestly, right? And then if we go dark mode. Maybe I should make my eyes red. Can you imagine if my eyes were red right now? What's making your eyes glitch? Oh, plus we can change the particle effects. We can take the particle effects off. Or I can add, where are the particle effects? Color correction, flare, levels, rim light, vignette, outline, particle effects. Yeah, we can do this. I can do this. Cherry blossoms. So all the lines in your demo reel need to be original. You do not want to do stuff from like movies or games. Mine were personally either things I ad-libbed or things that were written for me by my editor. So all of my script stuff, like I didn't write. I wrote some of them, very little of it. But yeah. Anyways, chat, we're gonna stop messing with that. Oh, anime heart. But I like this one right now. Where'd they go? Oh well. What are we talking about, chat? I've gotten distracted. We're gonna do the pedals because the pedals are fun. Okay. Oh, I turned them off. That's what happened, chat. There we go. Go back in the darkness. All right, enjoy your darkness. I'll be here. This one was making your eyes strain. Okay, sorry. I will turn it off for now. We'll do confetti. Boom, 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 boom. So we can celebrate. But yes, the flock is doing very well. I like the anime arts. And the flock by good news. Why are you crashing out? The shorts I'm wearing are itchy. Then take off your shorts. I don't know what I can tell you about, but just no shorts. Shorts suck. Why'd you need shorts? Don't do shorts. Or pants. Why am I wearing pants? Why am I wearing pants? Which one of you made me wear pants? Who was it? Which one of you? God damn it, Moss. I don't want to wear these pants. They're so big and hot. I had to go out and get my pizza, which, by the way, I've eaten so much pizza today. It is such good pizza. It's so good. And it's stupid that it's so good. It shouldn't be this good. It's not even like nice pizza. It was cheap. Chat, I bought 2 extra large cheese pizzas. 2 extra large cheese pizzas. Like big fucking pizzas. It has hand-rolled crust that has like garlic and stuff in it and cheese, and it's just so good. How much do you think it was? 20 bucks. 20 bucks for 2 pizzas. That's $10 a pizza. It's insane. Like, I could understand paying Mwah. This was that pizza that I was talking about, though. Remember when people were like, oh my God, he likes that pizza too much? Yeah, that was this pizza because it's just, it's so cheap and so good for what it is. I love it. Hi, Pinky. Mwah. All right, chat. You know what we're doing today, right? You know what we're doing today? We've done it so much this week already. I don't remember. Oh. Wait, VO. I just understood what you said. Hey. You know what? Bet. Legitimately. If we hit partner, when we hit partner, I will do a pizza giveaway, chat. I will give away Uber Eats gift cards so people can buy their own pizza. And that way we can have a giant pizza party. But you have to post the picture of your pizza to Twitter. That's my one situation, okay? That's my one stipulation, is you have to post your pizza to Twitter. Can you all do that? If I do a pizza giveaway, that doesn't matter what kind of pizza it is. It's just going to be LuckyJene Pizza Party. You can also post the picture on the Discord, and I'll post the picture. It can be Instagram, it can be Twitter, it can be anywhere, but we wanted the pizza party as big as possible for partner. But that's gonna be a while until we hit partner, okay? So give me some time, okay? Give me some time. I do own this game. One second. All right, all right, all right. Thank you for being patient there. I really, really appreciate it. How are you all feeling about that little game? Do you all like having something to do when I'm on the Be Right Back screen? Does it make you all feel special? Don't you be lurking. Wow, you come in just for the game. It's a thing I just do during the Be Right Back screen. Oh, there's references in the Discord. Are you in the Discord, Mossdwarf? Oh, are you not? Okay. Oh. You're welcome. There we go. Okay, we ready? Ready for gaming? Yes. All right, let's do it. You're good. You're good. I'm happy to help out an artist, especially if you're drawing me. I mean, like, why wouldn't I be? By the way, chat, the flock says that you're the best. That this community is amazing and insane. So, you know. Okay. Hi, Echo. How you doing? How you doing? How you Oh, god damn it. I'm so sorry, Pinky. I didn't see this until now. I hope you're still here so you get all the you get all the voice that you want, all right? Tell the flock they're cool. The flock will require sacrifices, champ. And Pinky is first now, by the way. Pinky's still first, so, you know, Pinky's first. Oh, not this again. What is with you? I'm such a good doggy. There you go. I am Vel Games. I have an neatly lit fires in my fireplace. Do you? How you doing, Vel Games? What's up? What's up? How am I? I'm pretty good. I'm pretty good. I know. It's what you wanted. And you ready, chat? You ready? 5, 4, 3, 2, crowd control zone. Oh, actually, I gotta fix chat real quick. Give me a second. And I also need to do one other thing. I want to give you all the ability to Nah, we'll worry about it later. It's fine. Please let me know if my model starts lagging a bunch. That way I can make adjustments.
Mr. Matthews gave me a message from you. He said when it was convenient to head into Emerald Ranch. He's looking at a few business things there. Okay.
All right. There we go. Stop messing up your voice. Have you thought about that? Don't mess up your voice. What'd you attempt once? Wait, Echo, what'd you attempt once? I want to hear about it. What'd you attempt? I'm sorry. Damn it, why'd y'all bring enemies back here? Not this again. That's gonna reload the game again, chat. Oh, I've loved Cowboy Me. You've done such a good job with Cowboy Me. And I just realized I still have the music on, chat. I'm so sorry. Let me fix this. There we are. All right. Another day. Another dollar. I did not shoot water in my nose, chat. I'm fine. I did not shoot water into my nose. It was somebody else. Also, does anybody want to give me a hat, please? I could really use a hat. That's Jose. I don't want to deal with Jose right now. You know what? We're going into town. We're gonna go take a bath. I don't want to be smelly anymore. That's all I want right now, chat, is not to be smelly. But how you doing, Dazzy? I might post it. I might post it. Oh no. Oh no. Oh no. Oh no. Oh no. I know. Ooh, Keeper, thank you for the bits. I see that. I see what you're doing, Keeper. And a lot of biddies. I appreciate it. Alright, we're gonna pull out a gun. I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna do this. 1, 2. Now the women. Not off my horse. I'm in the I'm a nun now? I'm a nun now. You know what? wait a second. I guess I'm a nun now. I guess I'm no longer a nun. There we go. Interesting. That was very interesting. Wait, so did I commit a crime or did the nun commit a crime? That's what's really important. By the way, Keeper, how you doing, sweetie? And Gibbets, how you doing? Oh, God, that hurts my eyes. I'm being a bad employee and watching at work. Ooh, how dare you? That's crazy. You can't be doing that. Oh, that weren't my horse. I just killed a random man. Where is my horse? Oh! You're working on some art? What kind of art you doing? Oh, damn it. I just got on the horse. Your boss is playing D&D in the corner, so that's fair. Oh, all right. See if we can get out of the crime region, chat. All right, the goal is to take a bath. That's all I want to do. I just want to be not smelly. Thank you for the look. Have fun, Keeper. Actually, you know what? Let's do this. I got this. Don't spoil the surprise for Eugene. I mean, that's fair. Makes sense. Damn. All right. Ooh, 1 hit. 2 hit. And we got him. Oh, God. Well. What do we have here? Have we finished doing enough of the southern? Are we going to be stuck here in this? No, we did enough of the southern. Perfect. Hello. Good evening there, little Vanyas. How you doing? Good evening. Shit, they found me. No! Horse, come back! Horsey! Let me on! We got this! Oh, sorry. I'm so sorry. I forgot what voice I should have been doing. We got this. Good morning, Vanya. How are you? Vanya, guess what? We might be getting a coffee flavor soon. Can you believe it? There will be a coffee flavor. And it will have ourself on it. You bastard! Why would you do this? You absolute bastard. No. Come here. Get on this. Yes. Here we go. We're doing fine, chat. Everything's good. Why are you going to eat me? Stop! No! Stop ragdolling me! I don't want to kill these men. I would like them to live, please. No, come back here, horsey, please. Oh, shit. Okay, well. Hi, Tiger. How's you doing? No, it's not going to be the flavor. It's not going to be the flavor of me. It's going to be also, I might be getting a scent made. Come here, horse! Thank you. Let's go now. Hopefully we can stay alive here a little bit longer. I don't remember how to calm down, chat. Damn it. Somebody called me by my childhood name today and I nearly cried, by the way. Why? Was that a bad thing? Well, damn it. We have ragdolled again. Okay, well, here we go. We're just going to see if we can hide here. Why am I 360ing? Why am I Tony Hawk's Pro Skater? Hello, Skater. How you doing? There we go. Get up. We are not dying. Get up. Why won't you stand, you dumb idiot? Sorry, it's good. Miss being called Belladonna. Very interesting. He wouldn't do it, chat. He wouldn't get up. He had one thing that he had to do. It was stand. How is that hard? It is the easiest thing in the... Why are we popping? There we go. Chat, are we having any pops in the microphone? No. Oh, God damn it. Do we have to do it in this voice? Here we go. I am such a good doggy. Such ein gut Hund. If that is what you want that badly. Bounty hunters remember previous crimes. Damn it! Well. That was only 3 minutes? We've only been like this for 3 minutes. Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? This is awful. How has it only been 3 minutes? Oh, it's fine, Footy. Come here. Mwah. There you go. Mwah, mwah, mwah. You can just ask for a kiss. You deserve a kiss. Hello, people. Oh, damn it. Why are you trying to kill me? Why am I wanted now? He shot me first! That is fucked up, chat. Hey. Why are you shooting me? Why are you shooting me? I don't want to commit crime. I am trying... What? See you all in a week? What do you mean a week? Where are you going? Vanya, where are you going? That is... You should not be leaving. Damn it. Okay. Well, we're going to do this. Nah, we're dead. Why is that audio popping? It's so strange. Where are you going, Vanya? What do you mean a week? You're not allowed to leave for a week. That is not a thing that you can do. Chat, do you hear any popping in the game? Do you hear any popping noises? Why do you vanish? You're not allowed to vanish. Call me Houdini the way I turn into a genie. No, but does anybody hear any popping noises in the game? I need confirmation, please. Does anybody hear any popping noises, or is it just me? Okay, thank you. Chat, I have an idea. I have a bad idea, chat. Okay. And we got this. I have an idea, chat. I don't know why I'm doing this. Ah, damn it. Because I killed a guy. Oh, damn it. Alright, chat. I am now driving a wagon. Anyways, I wanted to go see if we could make it to this town over here. I think it's here? Yeah. Is that a waypoint? Mama, I killed a man, put a gun against his head. No, don't jump off. I want to hit. No, come back. Damn, that hurt. Pulled my dry clips. How you doing? Mama, life had just begun, and now I'm gonna it all away. Mama, didn't mean to make you cry. I'm not back again this time tomorrow. Carry on, 'cause nothing really matters. Too late, my time has come. Sends shivers down my spine, body aching all the time. Oh, you got this, Eclipse. I believe in you. I'm not back. It doesn't take anything to make me sing. I will end up singing no matter what. That's part of a stream. It's part of a Gene stream. This does technically count as a vehicle. Carry on, 'cause nothing really matters. I'm fine. I ejected myself from a vehicle. Alright.
Welcome. How do you do? Liberty is worth every penny. We'll make sure New Hanover gets worth this.
Oh, no, we just paid my bounty. I just paid my bounty. Come on. I can't fight these women. I can't fight them. Don't freeze me. Let me out. Excuse me, who paid for the horse to get in on the fight? Who paid for the horse to get in on the fight? I got kicked in the face. No one paid for the horse. That's insane. Why am I I'm a cat, chat. I'm a cat now. Honestly, kind of sick. Chat, I just want to be a cat now. The cat can't jump for some reason. Do you want to know the very funny thing about D&D? In D&D, a cat can't jump, but an elephant can. I can't. It won't let me pull out a gun. The cat can't hold a gun, apparently. Thank you for the follow, Alex May. Hi, Maple. Thank you. No winner this time. Nice try, though. How you doing? We're doing crowd control. Don't forget tomorrow, chat. It's teach you the basics of D&D. This could be fuck. Land on roof. Be safe. Yes. Oh. God. Yeah, I'll be teaching all the basics of D&D. Like the very basics. We're gonna be going through the player's handbook basics. Come on, I want to wash myself. He's so close.
Welcome. Come on in.
Thank you. Bath.
Huh? You keep this up, you're out of here.
Oh. No, I don't want to fight him.
Ah, Jesus, get the hell out.
Oh, okay. I'm getting out, I guess. Apparently he... Why am I a cow? Moo. Oh, you too? Wait. What? Wait, if I buy a wait, chat, this is important. I need to see something. Hypothetically, can I ride a horse if I buy one? Okay. Chat, I need a name for the horse. What's the name for the horse? Quickly. Anybody, any name at all. First name I see wins. This is Bob. Lowercase Bob.
Take good care of that horse, okay?
Alright. Damn it! I took too long. I took too long, chat. Alright, come on.
Whoa! I need a wash. You got a bath? I got someone warming it up for you already. Just head down the corridor there.
Nice. Alright, which corridor? That corridor? Please let me take a bath. Oh, come on. Come let me take a bath. Let me take a bath, chat. Let me take a bath. There we go, thank God, okay.
Next time, you're out in the street.
If he comes and kills me in the bath, chat. Oh, thank God. Alright, here we go. Scrub-a-dub-dub, scrub-a-dub-dub. I gotta actually finish my bath though, chat. Doesn't this seem so nice? I mean, like, imagine this.
Can I be of any assistance in there?
Yeah, sure, let's get a deluxe bath. I don't care. I don't know what deluxe bath is, but, you know. The room blew up, though. Why was she in there?
I'll be out of your hair in no time.
Oh. Wait. Oh, thank God. Okay. Oh. Just the right arm. And okay, we're fine, chat. And the left leg.
Let me know if I'm scrubbing too hard, okay?
Okay. She was the explosion. It's okay. Okay, it's fine. It's fine. It's fine.
You let me know if you need anything, all right?
Okay, I don't think I'm gonna get much cleaner than this. Thank you.
I thought she would wash me. And not I'm still dirty. I'm still so dirty. Okay, never mind. Never mind, it's okay. It's okay. Clean enough. Clean enough. I think it's okay. I think it was just that one image. And that the bath just automatically cleans you when you leave it. So we should be good. I will be clean. See, there's no dirty stat. We're fine, chat. We clean. Alright, ad will be starting in about 5 minutes, chat. Just a heads up. A little ad break will happen. I apologize for everybody stuck at the ad break. Ah, oh, no, we're not gonna be criminals. But now I can go to a mission, chat. Cowboy. It happens. You know, sometimes you just blow up. You know what my goal is, chat? My goal is to blow up and then pretend like I don't know nobody. Aha! I don't have a hat though, chat. I keep losing my hat. I have an idea, chat. Do not judge me for this. You can't judge me for this. You can't judge me for this. I have an idea, chat. We're gonna try. Launch player. It doesn't work when I'm on a horse. Yeehaw! Oh, he's dead. That ain't no fun. Woo! I'm sorry, Desi. Anyways. I'm pretty far from Emerald Town. Why? Why? Why do you ask? All right, Desi, you can get... I keep telling all of you, it will not launch me if I'm on a horse. And if you do a vehicle redeem, it will not work on a horse. A horse redeem will not work on a vehicle. Yes, but Desi, as little attention as you pay, you're still very, very kind and sweet and very lovely, and I do appreciate you so very, very much. You are so very wonderful, and you are a lovely addition to the stream, okay? Thank you for being as fantastic as you are. There, and I got launched twice. Hi, Siren, how you doing? There you go. Chat, I just took a bath. Chat, I just took a bath. I am so dirty already. Where did he go?
Back on our feet.
You find a buyer for them bonds we stole?
Not yet, but Jose is working on it.
Did you see that, Jet? He just
We
gone.
heading west. Soon? I don't know. Feels like things have changed. The whole world's changed. They don't want folk like us no more. We're being hunted.
We are smarter than them. Only the feeblest of men take jobs in the government.
I hope so.
Trust Dutch, Mr. Morgan. You have to.
They got Micah. Dutch.
Oh, we were trying to do this one last time.
They got Micah. He's been arrested for murder. He was in Strawberry.
It's okay, son. Breathe.
They nearly lynched me. They got Micah and the sheriffs in Strawberry.
Oh, I'm doing good. We're going to be doing a longer stream today, by the way, chat. We're going to be going until 7 tonight. I hope you're ready for that.
Past his bluster to the heart inside. He is a fine man.
We're going to be doing a long stream.
I can't go. My face will be all over West Elizabeth. I am asking. He would do it for you.
I don't think he would, but fine, all right. Arthur.
But I will be taking an ad break when the ad break hits in.
Of course I'm okay.
You don't seem okay.
You take that
In about
kid
5
and
minutes,
get
the ad break
his
will be
town.
hitting. I'll be walking
Not
around.
Strawberry. Get him drunk. And Arthur, no crazy business.
I've given that up.
And you get Micah out of that jail.
Come on, son. I'll get to it.
Don't you worry, I'm eating a little pizza. Honk.
Everything. All right, boy.
That was a good outfit. It's a cheese pizza from Pilots.
You look like you've been through it.
Mm-hmm. Oh. It's very good.
What were you boys doing? You were supposed to be scouting ahead for us.
Chat, Arthur's gone crazy. Who's he talking to?
I do.
It's like a garlic crust. What the? Wait, who's he talking to? I guess we just go on our own. Maybe we'll meet him there.
And then he shoots one of them.
Wait, who are you talking to? There's no one here, Arthur. What is some brain disease eating you already? Do you got some disease that you aren't telling us about? There's the voices.
You're all right now. We'll take
God.
care of it.
Yeah. Think of the rabbits, Lenny.
You leave it to me. For now, let's
He's talking to the flock.
about Mike.
You know, that makes sense. You do have to scream to be overheard of the bleeding, the chaotic bleeding that the flock gives. The flock echoes out noises that no one can comprehend.
I should warn you. Me and a couple of the other boys, we got in a bit of a fight last time we was here. Here we are.
Are we here? It's just you and me. Bleating, B-L-E-E-T-I-N-G. Bleating is the sound that a sheep makes. They bleat. The blah blah blah. It's bleating. Haha, Lenny. Is he just gone? He's just... Oh, there he is! Where'd you come from?
Just one or two, right, Arthur?
Of course, just a drink. John, can we get a couple beers, please?
You, I don't want no trouble.
You'll get none from me. I was defending myself.
Tommy,
He'll be fine. Here, have one for yourself.
Thank you.
That's how you do it, chat. That's how you do it. You appease the bartender.
To know a lot of people. That was the problem.
How you mean?
Okay.
I done seen a lot of crazy stuff, but Mike...
of crazy stuff. Will you shut up? Will you shut up? Be quiet, buddy.
What the hell is he doing?
Oh, they're dullers. My lord. You men is dull.
What? What the fuck?
Leave this fool alone.
Leave the fool alone.
Who starts a conversation like that?
10 years. I'm bored with being left alone.
Listen, buddy. You're a charming fellow. One of the best. But me and the kid here, we're trying to talk business, so could you possibly leave us alone? No offense intended.
Ain't no pleasing some folks.
Hi, Dalbats. How you doing?
Just trying to be friendly.
Man does not know how to be friendly. Oh, hell yeah, boys and girls. Drink it down. I should have gotten alcohol. I think I have some of the...
That's great, partner. Lenny, where are you?
Lenny. Fine. We're going to postpone the ad a little bit, chat. Because I want to see what's going on here. Lenny?
Hey, Lenny! Lenny? See that fella I was with?
No, sorry.
God, what was your mutton chops? God damn it, Lenny.
Lenny, where are you? Can't find my friend. You know where he went?
Don't ask me.
What are you doing, kid?
Hello, Arthur.
Huh? Oh, there he is. What's up, Lenny?
You know what? I don't know.
Damn. 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 Hi, Maple. Mwah. Oh, Arthur. Arthur. No one would have me.
Lenny! Get away from me! You're slippery like shit, ain't you? Come on!
What is he doing, Lenny?
Lenny, where are you at? Lenny!
Lenny.
Are you in here, Lenny?
Lenny. Lenny. Lenny, get off the bar, Lenny.
Damn animals!
Who do you think you're talking to?
Come on.
I'm talking to no
Oh, no. Now we drunk.
What? I said, what did you say?
Get lost, buddy.
Shut up, mister. Yeah, shut your mouth, mister.
Wait, what? Well, how'd that happen? How'd that happen? What do you mean? How we go for... Wait. Oh, I didn't look to see how big it was, chat. I did not look to see how big it was. I don't know what you're talking about. I'd never do that. Me, no. No. Oh, shit. Hey! You seen Lenny? Wait. You know what?
There you are, Lenny.
How many of you had, pal?
Oh, you ain't Lenny. Oh, God. The hell? Alright.
Lenny! I've been looking all over for you, Lenny.
I'm Clyde. You got the wrong fella.
Man, talk about racial blindness, man. we got, oh my God, Lenny. What are you wearing?
I found you, Lenny.
Do I look like a Lenny to you?
Lenny, where are you hiding now?
Lenny? Oh, hey, Lenny.
Hey, my boy.
Lenny.
Oh, I ain't no Lenny. I mean, Lenny's up here? No, Lenny ain't here. Lenny! Lenny! Me and you, we got Lenny. Hey, it's Lenny! Oh, God, look at what Lenny. Lenny, you got a nice pair on you. When'd you get them?
Stop slumping off on me.
You mean Jenny? She left with a John an hour ago.
Oh, are you Lenny? Nah, you ain't. Maybe Lenny? Damn. I mean, clearly you haven't drank enough, Chef. Oh, God. Oh, hey, Lenny! Clearly you ain't drank enough, chat. If you ain't ever done this. Oh. Oh, God. He hit me, chat. Why he hitting me?
You're a good friend to me, officer.
Cheers.
Where did drink go?
Not you again.
Wait. Why am I drowning him? Chat, this is exactly what being drunk like. No! No! What do you mean an unknown error? What do you mean an unknown error? Chat, I got so drunk the game died. I got so drunk the game died. All right, chat. Well, we're gonna take a quick little break here, then we'll come back. Y'all take it easy. I'll be right back. I'll put some games on while I'm gone, okay? Honestly, very incredible chat. I mean, Echo, look at you. Look how high you are in the ranking right now, Mosdorf. You did so... Oh, that's strange. Anyways, hi. Hello, lovelies. Hi. So yeah, y'all did amazing. Look how good you did. I'm so proud of all of you. You did good. You did great. We're going to close that off for now. But well done, everybody. Well done. What, you saw my floating arms? You saw my secret floating arms? Chad, do you know? Did you... Honestly, though, you guys did very well. I'm very impressed. I can't believe you all have made it that high. I've seen other streamers like Chaz try to do it, and you were just like, bam. Had a mini Harant. Fuck. Oh, God. Yeah. Blue halogen lights should be illegal, and I don't know why they aren't. They should be illegal, and I don't know why they aren't. W and R. That's fair. All right, chat. I need to go. No, it's fine. No way there's a new god. Oh, okay, let's see. Gorillas. The happy dictator. The happy dictator? Oh my god, wait a second. Did they make a political song? Imagine the VOD. Imagine the VOD without the music. Just. Wow. Okay. 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 I vibe. I dig it. I love that. That was. Whew. We need a dog jam. Huh. Huh. Yeah. You know, I dig it. I dig it. It went. That was good. That was good. That was good. Okay. Oh. We do need a dog jam. I don't know what we do, but thank you, Desi, for sharing that. Does anybody know anybody who can make a dog? I should message the flock. I'm going to see if the flock has any demonic contacts that I can reach out to and, you know, plunder their deep, unfathomable depths. Oh, chat, the game broke. 1 second. I need to fix it. The game broke. It's broken. The game broke. It's broken, the game broke, it's broken, and I can't see you. I can see you again. The game broke. I think I might get rid of the spin the camera redeem, though, because that doesn't really do much of anything, but it's fine, too. Okay. Wait, what do you mean you're waiting the connector? Oh, damn it. Chat, the game broke multiple levels. Okay, 1 sec. Oh, wait, no. I think we're actually good. Let's see if this works. Need a blood sacrifice version to get a dog jam. Well, I mean, to connect me with the person who would then give me the dog jam. Ah, God. Whew. I am excited. I am excited. We're gonna do such cool things. I got Soji, by the way, chat. No, I don't want to go back. Chat, we're gonna go hunting real quick. We're gonna do a little hunting so that we can feed the fam, and then we're gonna, you know, go back. Arthur. Fuck you, Arthur.
Everything all right, Arthur?
Do shave. Closing. Give me a second, chat. This thing's broken here. Damn it! What's going on? Don't break on me. Don't break on me. I need you to function, please. There's only so many things that I can allow to break, and you're not one of them. So please behave. End the task. There we go. Okay. Dinner done. Dizzy is obsessed with virgins. I believe you. The horse won't follow you. No, Desi, it's Dizzy. Chat, we're renaming Desi into Dizzy. It's fine, don't worry about it. I don't know why I'm singing things. I got a package in the mail, but tell me why Tiny Squish PP came with my books. What? What? What do you mean a tiny squished peepee came with your books? Where is my horse? Horse. Horse. Horsey, horsey, horse. Oh, there he is. I don't want to set the world on fire. I just want to something more. Is this my horse? I don't think this is my horse. Maybe it's my horse? Mango. I go Rosie for the raid. Thank you. Welcome to the stream. How are you doing? Hi. Can we get a shout out? This is Bob. Chat. This is Bob. How you doing, Echo? I hope your stream went well. We're hunting. Let's see what we can find. Oh, God.
Come on, hold still now. I need to focus.
Chat, please don't kill him.
Easy. Hey, easy now. Whoa, easy.
Did that man just... That man just died, chat. Are you okay, buddy? Chat, remember, clip things that you think are great.
Come on now. It's okay.
Chat, I think I got a new horse. Chat, more horses! Don't throw me off the horse! Oh well. Alright, anyways, we got a new horse, chat. I don't know what we're gonna do with this horse. I just know we got one. Oh, yeah, look, deer! Okay. Sorry, we are planning on hunting. Or... Are those ram? Ah, bug flew in my eye. Ah, bug flew in my eye. Help! Help, somebody! Okay, we're good. Hi, lovelies, by the way. I tried playing flute, and after I ended, I finally got it. Oh! Well, I hope you enjoyed playing flute for the time that you learned it. I didn't lead enemies to camp. Did you all summon an ambush? Pomo! I'm trying so hard not to... Hi, Pomo. How you doing? Everything going good? Everything going all right? All right, we're gonna try to hunt something. Pomo. Hey! Why? Why you doing that? Why you wanna... Just making me dismount. You know you could combo it if you make me dismount and then you can launch me. Oh, here we go. Okay. Just gonna take a little look. I'll get Mango again. Don't you worry. I will get Mango. I'm just gonna... Alright. Swap to the bow. You super tired? Oh, I'm sorry you're super tired. No, don't beat me up. I'm hunting. Let me hunt! Woman! Alright, well, you know what they say.
You crazy as the hell is that for?
You have a choice not to get back up. You had a choice to not get back up. Okay. Oh, thank God. Okay. We got this one. Why are they back? You just did you just resurrect them all? What the fuck? What the fuck? What do you mean witnessed? What do you... Wait, is this a donkey? I didn't mean to kill a donkey. I thought there was a... All right. Anyways. Oh, it's a deer. We're good. It's a deer. It's not a donkey. Oh, shoot. Okay.
Out of the damn way.
Spawn a crowd. Oh. Nope. Not what I want to do. Get off. Get off. Okay. So now we're going to pick up the deer. We're going to put the deer on the horse.
I hear some nuns
There we go.
fresh clothes the other day.
What? She's like, oh yeah, Gene, did you know there's nuns who give up first clothes? I don't care. I'm not ugly. I'm not smelly. Am I smelly again, chat? Did y'all make me smelly again that quickly? Alright, let's see if we can find something else to hunt. I don't know. I need to learn how to dismount properly, chat. There's a gunfight happening. Chat, I can't make it up there. Chat, can somebody throw me in the air? Does anybody want to launch me in the air? It's true. Oh, God. Ah, damn it. All right, hopefully that'll fix it for now. We good? I think we're good. Okay. Well, not what I was wanting. But I guess that works. That was me, Chad. I'm the dumb mosquito. I want to be part of this fight. I want to be part of this fight. By the way, chat, you might need to refresh stream. We were I don't think the launch is gonna help, but you can try. Launch me now. Mega launch, let's go. I think I'm dying. Too late! Oh no, baby! Come on! Don't die! Oh shit! Heal! We made it! We got it. All right, chat. We got to figure out who's the bad guys. No more launching! Stop launching! Wait. Who are the bad guys? Are these the bad guys? I don't know if we killed bad guys or good guys, chat. Either way, though. Gonna take a little bit of whatever you got on there. Crowd control points, I think, are... I don't know. I think they're tied to your account, so it should be fine. It should carry over. I don't know who we killed, chat, but we killed him. All right. Driving in my car. Gene, you're hot. Thank you, God. Driving in my car right after a beer. Hey. You okay, sir? Do you wanna...
What the hell's your problem?
Oh, fucking I don't know. Driving in my car right after a beer. Hey, that dog is shaped like a deer. DUI, now how about you die? I have soju, by the way. Cheers. My horse isn't within my range. That's too bad. Anyways, I guess we're done hunting because my horse is gone. Driving in a car right after a beer. Hey, that bump is shaped like a deer. Is it not, mister?
Oh shit, no.
No? Huh. So it's having financial extension at the housing bubble. No. Oh no, chat. I don't got a horse. However, am I gonna fix this problem? Who knows? Anyways, chat, we're just gonna... Damn it, chat. Well... it is what it is, I guess, chat. I guess what it is. I'll find him eventually. Oh, what's this guy want?
Through here like you own the place. But the O'Driscolls got this right.
So what was that about the O'Driscolls? What was that about the O'Driscolls, my man? Yeah? Something about the O'Driscolls? Nah? Yeah, that's what I thought. Y'all just kill that horse? Why would you kill his horse? Damn it, I missed! I'm already doing the Southern voice. Refund them. I'll do the Southern voice for 5 minutes anyways, but you get them points back. Take them back. Alright, chat, I got an idea here. Give me your host. Give me your host. This ain't working, chat. Alright, we're gonna find this somewhere. We're gonna find a horse somewhere. Damn it. Hey, chat, we went full circle now. Ah, my knees. And Drogon, bye, bye, bye. To save a horse, ride a cowboy. By the way, chat, there is art being made right now of me as a cowboy, so you know. I didn't mean to. I was. God damn it, Neeks. Oh, Neeks may be invincible. God damn it, crucified. Thank you, Neeks. I appreciate it. Wait. What's up? What's up, VO? Oh, that'll work. Thank you. Don't flatten me. Let me stand. Ha ha ha. Don't kill the horse! God damn it, chat! Damn it. Alright, chat, we're gonna try to drink one of these. It's just what we're doing today, chat. Damn it, I got stuck on a tree branch. Oh, you froze me. Chibbits, you froze me. No, wait. What do you feel embarrassed about? VO, sweetie, you're totally all right. There ain't a single thing you gotta be. Ain't a single thing you gotta be embarrassed about. You all right? What'd you be embarrassed about? You didn't hop in the stream and be like, "Hey, yo, Gene, I want to jump your bones. I want to ride you until you can't walk anymore." Did you do that? No. So you're golden. You're Gucci. You're sweet. You're perfectly fine. Ain't not a single worry that you need to have in the entire world. All right. What? I need to see if I can adjust Deadeye, because I hate how it sets up right now. Controls, is it in general? Uh-huh. I wish I could change the way Deadeye is controlled. I'm so sorry, sweetie. It was not my intention. I hope you're doing okay, all right? I'm sorry. I am sorry. I feel bad, chat. I feel a little guilty. That was not my intent. No gips. Well, Carnia, if there's anything I'd rather break. I mean, what? I'm behaving myself, Chad. I don't know about you. I should not be drinking. I can't hunt people. Oh, darling, are you sure about that? Drink more soju, got it? Driving in my car. Oh, dear. Oh, dear. Come on, dear. Come on, little dear. Come on, little doggy. I need you to stop running away from me. God, you're just gonna make it harder when I finally catch you. Look, do you want me to take you down now or when you're tired? Oh, sweetie, I got all day. Fine, fine, I'll drink some water. There you are, sweetie. Come on, darling. That was water. Excuse me. I have two kinds of drinks, chat. I have soju and I have water. Both of them are next to me. I did drink water. You requested water. I drank a little. Relax. Now, where is this stupid little thing? Honey. Quit your hiding and come on out. There we are. That ain't what I'm looking for. Oh, I hear it. That's a man on a horse. Fine. Chat, I don't... There. Oh, look at them little piggies. Hey there, M31, how you doing? How are you doing, M31? I hope you're having a lovely, lovely day. Here, biggie, 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 biggie. Here, biggie, 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 biggie. There's one. Two. Oh. We'll get a third? I ain't getting it. It's gone. It's gone. I did take a stretch break. Is that how you call a pig? Yeah. Here, bigger, 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 bigger. Here, bigger, 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 bigger. Can I not carry this thing? Are you telling me I killed it and I can't take it with me? Oh, it's not even a good quality. What a waste of meat. Damn, if I had known, I wouldn't have wasted the time. Poor piggy. I don't want to kill that thing for no reason. Guess we'll kick some rabbits. Where's my horse? Chat, did you take the horse? Was it you? There you are. Well, I've been looking for you. Come here. Damn it. I mean, I expect to at least be able to kind of sort of lift it onto the back of a horse or something, and, you know, maybe... fine. You're right. You're 100% right. I understand why I couldn't, but it still makes me a little upset that I couldn't. You hear me? Oh, well. I think we've done 5 minutes. Oh, do you think we're at the 5-minute mark, chat? Oh, yeah, we're easily at the 5-minute mark. Dog. Study the dog. Understand the dog. Pet the dog. Dog has been pet. Dog has been pet, chat. Dog has been pet. Yeah, but the pelt on the pig was so poor because I was trying to kill it for meat, not for, I wasn't trying to kill it for, pelt. So it was not even any point of me grabbing the pelt. Oh, there's the deer. Okay. I love how he falls off horses. Yeah, oh, fucking, it's entirely wasted taunt. I'm gonna see if I can shoot it through the eye, and if I can shoot it through the eye, maybe it's not gonna mess up the pelt. Okay, let's see what we have. Don't you know it's the end of the world? Where'd the deer go? That pig has a husband? That pig is the husband. Chat, I mean, ACAB. Hi, Mama. That would be the pooper. The brown eye is the eye from the back side. Hi, Mama. Pommel, alles gut? All good, all good? We're not hunting fox. I will not kill a fox, chat. I will not kill a fox. I'm not British. I will not kill a fox, chat. My one requirement. Because they're like cat dogs. You can't kill a cat dog. How is there no animals out here? Alles good, yeah. Bye, Monster. What are you gonna go do? Dear. Did you see that? Did you see that, chat? Did you see how good I did that? Through the tree. Couldn't even see it. Oh. And that's a good deer pelt. That's a good deer pelt. Horsey? Horsey?
Where's that horse got to?
Damn it. Thank you for the follow, Olivia. Hello, hello, Olivia. How you doing? Welcome, welcome, welcome. What bullshit? I just wanted meat so we could get this over with and bring the meat back. Oh, thank you for the sub. What the hell? Thank you. I appreciate the sub. How you doing? How you doing? The horse is just gone. Horse, please. What was the point of us hunting? Hello, hello. First time chatter and a sub. What are the chances of that? Have you been lurking? Okay, but it was back here, right? I will take somebody else's horse if I need to. Chat. Oh no, chat. Oh no, I think I stumbled on something. You ready? Alright, shh. see what they are. Quiet. No, I'm glad you like the vibe. All right, let's see. Should we take them both out? Should we take all three out? All right, 1, 2. Ooh, okay. They're gonna bunk down. Oh, we gotta see if we can sneak in when they lay down. Yeah. Oh, go to bed. Give that. I mean, we could go the stealth route. All right, come on. If they go, I have an idea, chat. Okay, this is so smart. Okay.
Jesus Christ!
Oh no! Chat, if you killed that horse, I'm gonna be so. Where's the? I needed the horse. Chat, I needed the horse. Oh, chat. I mean, I guess I don't need the horse anymore. Why did I die? Cause Ocean blew me up. All right. Oh, there you. Hey, boy. Hey. Wait. Hey, girl. Boy, apparently he has really small testicles, apparently. I needed you. Where were you? I guess Bob's a boy? Careful, Bob. Bob, careful. Bob, careful. Bob, careful. Careful, Bob. Good night, sweetie. Be good. All right, Bob. Do not go... Bob, you scared the deer. Bob, I'm gonna leave you here. You stay. I'm going hunting, okay? So, Bob, I went hunting.
Okay, boy. Let's go.
Thank you, Bob. Okay, where... There we are. You're very proud that you killed me? I'm sure you are. What also works? That works too. Well, I don't know if he has balls or not. And we all know that's the most important part of gender is how large your balls are. Okay. Kidding. Okay, no, there are testicles, chat. There are testicles. They have the balls. It's just cold out right now, so Bob's just, you know, a little. I mean, okay. Yes. That'll work. Don't agitate my horse. Horsey, relax. All right. Hey. Hey. Chill. Chill. There we go. Good, good, good. This is why we have... Relax. Relax. This is why we have crowd control streams.
Good boy.
You know, to bring out interaction from everybody. And we can bring in new faces who just want to mess with me. Adds an element of extra chaos. So I'm going to leave you alone, because if I come over there, you will promptly die. Hey for the heal. Love me some soju. Daisy, 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 give me your answer true. I'm half crazy, all for the love of you. It won't be a stylish marriage. I haven't got a carriage. But you'd look sweet upon the seat of a bicycle meant for two. Thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you for the follow and the bits. I appreciate it. Daisy, Daisy, give me your handsome true. All right. I'm sorry. Give me the king. You behave yourself. I'll be back. Okay. Who wants it? Who needs my floppy meat? Chat, where'd I put my floppy meat?
That's a heap of meat you got there, Arthur.
Oh, there it is. I've got a lovely bunch of coconuts. Dilly-dee.
You know these hides and furs can also be done up into coats and boots and such.
Mm-hmm.
Nice skills, but there's a trapper that travels around these parts, Canadian feller, skilled tanner. He can make just about anything.
Give me your eyes and true. It won't be a sign. I have no use for floppy meat. Give me time, I can fix it. All right. Do we donate something over here? Alligator meat, I think, is pretty gamey and stringy from what I heard, but I've also heard that it tastes a little bit like water chicken. Can I not stock up the bullets here? Wait. I didn't want that. That's too small to read. I'm half crazy with love of you. La da 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 da. Uh-huh. I've decided, chat. He has a mustache now. He's a mustache man. He's a mustache man, chat. He deserves a mustache. Anyways, he also needs to sleep. Is all getting me amazing? I've always wanted to try turtle. Why are you paying attention to the stash chat? What's wrong with the stash? You don't like the stash? Where is it? Suspenders. I like suspenders. Pants. Hats is what we're looking for. I like a goofy hat. Yeah. And sleep. Nope, he's keeping a mustache forever, chat. You know who he looks like. He looks like he could do. The dog floppy meat broke my PC. I can't even clip my whole browser froze. Well, Igor, I believe if you try harder, you could probably make it there. You've got this, Igor. Echo. The lovely, lovely Echo. Okay, I believe we have enough meat here. Good, 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 good. We're glad to have that happened. Okay, if we're going to... Anyways, same way. All right, chat, we're going to try to get drunk again. We're trying to get drunk again, okay? You ever heard about the bonds we stole? I mean, my God, man, what have you found about the bonds? You know, the bonds. Hello, Penguin. I'm gonna go back there and hopefully get the fucking bonds again. Daisy. I'm sure you didn't, man, but you're way back there and I can't hear you. It's not easy being green.
What were you boys doing? You were supposed to be scouting ahead for us.
Honestly, I'm just glad he's actually talking to somebody this time instead of last time where he wasn't talking to anybody. I mean, that was crazy. You know what I mean? Oh, God. That is so far back in the throat. It's way back here, and you have to go up and down at the same time. It doesn't make much sense. That is fun, though. I think I'm getting better at it. You're gonna just push it back here, and then here. There we go. Okay, cool. Amazing. Arthur would have to be old.
And then I can go up here, and we can go, oh, I'm going to be in there, and we're gonna get drunk, chat. You and I together, we're gonna get drunk. It's gonna be so bad.
I mean, you know who else has a frog in her throat? Miss Piggy. Wink, wink. All right. Yeah, never was too big on pork. Anyways, here we go. Let's get drunk, chat. Cheers!
Just one or two, right, Arthur?
Of course, just a drink.
God, I love him with the mustache. It's so goofy.
I don't want no trouble. You'll get none from me.
It's perfect. He's so fucking cowboy right now. He's such a cowboy, chat. I mean, God. Damn, chat. He's such a fucking cowboy right now. I mean, look at this man with his goddamn mustache. I mean, he really trying, ain't he?
How you mean?
I mean, I done seen a lot of crazy stuff, but Mike...
crazy stuff.
Will you shut up?
Will you shut up?
Alright, will you shut up? Man, this man is such a fucking cowboy.
Lord, you men is dull.
I wonder if this man realizes how ugly he is. He has the worst part of the facial hair. Ain't nothing positive about that man's facial hair.
You're a charming fellow. One of the best.
It's like the part that should have been covered up is the one part he left exposed.
Could you possibly leave us alone? No offense intended.
I mean, you can do whatever you want, but I personally give him a different outfit. God, wait, man, look at his chest, though. Look at his chest, though, chat. Oh. Oh, chat, it's ad break time. We're going to do a little pause it here. We're going to pause it. We're going to wait for it. Daisy, Daisy, give me your answer true. I'm half crazy, oh, for the love of you. Okay, we're going to take a little break here while while the ads go. So, you ready, chat? You ready? You got this? Y'all did amazing. Thank y'all for doing that. Well, a cockpit is a thing. But yes, thank y'all for coming. Thank y'all for playing that while we did that. Ollie. Olivia. Olivia. Hi, sweetie. You are doing just fine, okay? You're doing so very, very lovely. And I hope you know that I appreciate you so very, very much. But you're gonna do great, okay? And no matter what's going on right now, things are gonna get better. Things will get better for you, I promise. Mwah. All right, let's do this. Penguin. Suggestive is one thing. That's a bit too far. Lenny! Chat, you know you can change the outfit, right? Lenny! I lost my friend. You see where I am? Yes, I'm trying to do more 3-hour streams if possible. Oh my god. Whoa, whoa, whoa.
Shut up, mister. Yeah. Shut your mouth, mister.
Oh God! Ah! 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 Oh, I wonder what he's. No, sorry, chat. I was not looking. I didn't look again, chat. Lenny. Oh, here it is. Lenny. Lenny. Oh, hey, Lenny. Oh, no, never mind. Lenny? Lenny! Lenny! When did you change your clothes, Lenny? 1, 2, buckle my... Hey, Lenny! Got some nice titties, Lenny. Oh, your leg gone. Oh, it's fine. Don't worry about it. Lenny! Lenny! Oh. Lenny? Lenny? Chat, they won't let me in. They won't let me in to see Lenny. They won't let me in to see Lenny, chat. Oh, there's Lenny. Lenny! Lenny! Oh, Lenny.
Damn it, Lenny, stop slumping off on me.
Oh. Oh, Lenny? Lenny! Chat, I found Lenny. Hey, Lenny. Lenny! Oh. Yes, ooh. Hi there, Lenny. Lenny! Hi, Lenny. Lenny! 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 That's not Lenny. Oh boy. Oh boy. Oh boy. Oh, oof. I can't. Oh God! Oh. Oh God, chat. Our clothes changed. We got so drunk, chat, that we changed clothes again.
You're a good friend to me, officer.
Where my mustache is back? Where'd the mustache come from?
Cheers. Not you again.
Man. Alright, we're gonna dunk him in. We're gonna drown him. Nah, we won't drown him. Drown him ain't no good. Oh, he hit me. My hat! Chat, I need a hat. Chat, give me back a hat. You'll never take me alive. You'll never take... Why did I just leave Lenny? I'm too quick for you. Ooh. Lenny! Liberty in the pursuit of happiness, chat. Where'd my facial hair go? Wait, that is different clothes, ain't it? I woke up with less facial hair, chat. Imagine that. Oh, my horse is here. Is this just a random horse, by the way? Oh, y'all just spawned a horse. Y'all just spawned me a horse. So... Cool. Oh, this is the worst outfit yet, chat. This one's the worst one. Fuck. Where did we leave Lenny? Damn it, chat. Oh no. Oh no, chat. Oh, more horses. I hope Lenny made it out. If Lenny did not make it out, it's gonna. Oh hey. Dog, 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 dog. Hey boy. No. All right. Chat, did you know I voiced that dog? I didn't.
Mr. Morgan, I took your advice, sir. I took your advice.
Then your god has finally deserted you.
Why is the mustache back?
Took your advice, sir. I have removed myself from Morpheus's embrace. No more shall I sink, sir. I am free. I am free.
You don't seem free, friend. You seem drunk.
Sit down, Reverend. We ain't finished.
You ain't finished. Look at him. He's finished.
None of us forced liquor down his throat, friend. I just wanted to play.
Now, firstly, we ain't friends. Don't make no mistake on that.
He looks so good with a mustache, chat. He looks so good with a mustache, chat. Oh my God, does he look good with the mustache?
Step outside or deal with business here.
I just want him to finish the game.
Why can't we all just get along? These are good men, Arthur. They're children.
All right, chat, I'm gonna grow a mustache. Ready?
About you playing his place, huh? That seems fair.
Fair?
Sure. You want a game?
Let's play it, chat.
Sure. I'll play a few hands.
Well, sit yourself down then.
It's time to gamble, chat. It's time to gamble. Gamble, 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 gamble.
This is Marvin.
All right.
Fortunate for you both for being gentlemen about this.
Same goes for you.
Hi, Midnight Jackals. How you doing?
So, you two know each other anyway. Don't seem like a like-based friend.
That's fair, that's fair.
Don't mind me saying.
We go a long way back.
Ooh, wait, what are we playing? Are we playing poker?
I guess it's something like that.
That's pretty solid. Yeah, let's call.
He can't be no real clergyman. He committed about 5 cardinal sins just in that chair you're sitting in.
Come on.
Used to be.
Ooh. Yeah.
Life is a challenge. All of us.
Let's up it a little bit.
Here.
Can you imagine him at the pulpit? If he could stand up.
On the fourth day, he turned water into whiskey, and I don't remember much after that.
Not looking the best, but
He's a decent fella going through a bad time.
let's see if we can up this a little bit.
Disrespect him again, and you'll find yourself in a bad time too.
All right, all right. Just trying to have a little fun here.
No goatee. Hell no, not goatee. Come on, come on, come on, come on. Yes! Woo! This is Texas Hold'em. Let's throw it by 40.
Okay.
There.
Pile of crap. Don't laugh.
Yeah! Hit him again. I'm draining these fools, chat. I'm draining them. We're taking them for everything they got.
Shit.
Sorry about that.
Just settle down.
What do we got? What do we got? Give me something good. Give me something good. Give me something good. Let's put some fear in them.
There you go.
Call.
Give me something. Give me something. Anything. Anything. I'm looking for a straight, ideally. Let's raise.
Okay, let's have some fun here.
For Christ's sake.
Yes! Ain't have nothing. Did not have nothing.
Come on, let's keep this up.
You lucky son of a bitch.
I think we can finish off the 66 in just a bit. Sorry, chat. Sorry. Is this entertaining for anybody? Is anybody enjoying me playing poker? What do we got? What do we got? 3 and 10. 3 and 10. I mean, we always got to raise a little bit.
That's all I got.
I'll call.
I'm a pro at anything when I've been drinking, chat. Come on, come on. Oh, chat. Okay, let me give this to you. So here's how the game works. Everybody has 2 cards, okay? If you you get your 2 cards, and then everybody bets on the 2 cards they have. You put down a bet, or you can check, which is matching the bet, and then it moves on to the next round. And then the next round, they put down 3 cards, which is I can't remember what it's called exactly, but they put 3 down cards, and so now you're betting on those 3 cards and the 2 cards you have in your hand. Then they flip the next one, and you do another round of betting, and they flip the next one, and they do another round of betting. Yeah. One second, we're gonna... we already have 2... Oh, okay. River, turn, and flop. There you go. Okay, so the river is the first one. The turn, and then the flop is the last card. Now, you have 2 options. You have 3 options. You can either raise, check, or fold. If you raise, you're increasing the price. Check is you're keeping the price current. And folding, you give up on this match, but you don't have to bet anymore. 2 pair is a lot to bet on here, and that flop could be anything. He could have anything. He could have anything. Let's throw it down here a little bit. Scare him off. Damn it. And so here comes the last card. Nada. Nada. And so right now, okay, I'll walk you through the next one like as we go, okay? Fuck. Ain't no way we won that. Ain't no way.
Better card.
Come to me.
All right, here we go. So it starts with the person gets the deck. They're going to shuffle it. They're going to pass out 2 cards to every person. 1 per person. So it's going to be 1, 2, 1, 1, 2, duh. So you're going to look at the cards there. And so we're going to bet on what these cards are. Because right now I have an ace and a 10. These are both they're high cards. They're both worth a lot. So I'm going to bet pretty high on them. Which would, for real people, give away what I have. But I'm assuming because they are... damn it. Because they are AI, they're not going to go with it. Now... You'll see what happened there is I was the first to bet because I'm the one to the left of the dealer, the first one. So I raised the price to 40. The next person has a choice to either call, raise, or fold. He folded. And the next person has the choice to either raise or call or fold. And since he called, that means he puts in exactly the same I do. And we move on to the next one. The highest card amount. And there's different type of card combinations. So right now... The highest I have is a ace high, because ace is going to be the highest card value here. And none of these other cards will match into any of these sets that you can make. So I'm just going to bet a small amount, keep it going, because we had the river. There's only 3 cards here. There could still be another card in here that could figure it out. Not AI. Technically...
You're sitting pretty, huh?
Wait, did I fold?
Let's go. Well, gentlemen, time to move
Oh.
along.
Oh, hell. You're one lucky son of a bitch, you know that?
AI just means artificial intelligence. It does not mean, like, generative AI.
I ain't so sure. Come on, you. Let's move along.
Okay, perfect.
Where's it?
Who?
The Reverend. Where'd he go?
I don't know.
Ah, shit. Excuse me, gentlemen.
Yeah.
All right. So here's what I'm going to walk you through the thing.
Swanson, where'd you come?
When you play like there's we'll do 5-card draw. I'll explain 5-card draw. 5-card draw. You're given 5 cards, and it is a combination of these 5 cards that you use to determine what you can do. Like anything from a royal flush, a full house, pair, whatever. Texas Hold'em is a unique way of doing 5-card draw. So instead of you having or 5 cards, whatever. Instead of you having all the cards in your hand, you only have 2 cards in your hand, and you're also playing the cards on the table. Everybody can see the cards on the table, so it makes it more interesting for everybody to know what everybody else has. The only 2 cards they don't know I have are the 2 in my hand. But if they see that there's a royal flush on the table, everybody has a royal flush. If they see there's a 4 pair on the table, everybody has 4 pair. All they don't know is the 2 cards in your hand and the 2 cards in anybody else's hand. So that's what your risk is trying to figure out what those 2 cards could be and what the highest combination they could have versus what your combination is. It makes it more strategic. Yeah. And to go through like what the cards are, the lowest that you can get is called a high card. It's going to be whatever the highest valued card in your hand is. So I had an ace, that'd be a high ace. Oh shit, what's going on here?
Get your hands off him. You'll keep. You stay out of it. Get your hands off him now, you son of a bitch. Oh my God, kill me. I'm gonna get the law on you.
1 second, chat. Where'd he go? We ain't gotta do this, man. Come on, baby boy.
You better stop right there. Stay away from me. I said stop, damn it.
Yeah. Okay. I
Please,
won't
don't
tell
hurt
so.
me.
I promise.
Good. Get the hell out of here.
And there we go. Okay, anyways. Running through the card values. Okay, you ready?
Where's Reverend?
You have a high card. That's going to be whatever the card that you have the highest value of. You're going to have a pair. And a pair is going to be 2 of the same card. So you know it's going to be like 2 3s, 2 4s, whatever. You have 3 of a kind, which is 3 of the same card. You have 4 of a kind. 4 of a kind is, 4 of the same card. So it would be 4 queens, whatever. And if a 4, like 4 2s loses to 4 3s. You get it? It's still the numerical value. So full house is 3 of one kind of card. So let's say 3 3s and then 2 of another kind of card. So 3 3s and let's say 2 aces.
You can still be.
Ah, shit, we're gonna fix this guy. 1 second. Shit.
What have you done with your foot?
It appears to like this place and wants to stay.
Get your foot out of here. Twist your leg. You
1 second. 1 second. 1 second.
help. Got it. Come on.
And a straight flush. A flush.
What the hell is wrong with you? What the hell is wrong with you?
We'll get through this one second.
There was a goddamn train, you crazy bastard! Have I been bad again, Mr. Morgan? I'm sorry. I wish I was different.
Let's get you home.
Home? Yeah, that's a wonderful idea. I could have tea with Margaret.
Margaret? Who's Margaret? What?
All right, back to card descriptions. Okay, so yes, you have 3 of a kind, 2 pair. So 2 pair is a unique one. I like a lot. Because 2 pair is, you might have like 2 2s and then 2 4s. And so you have 2 pairs. AA. 2 pair. A flush is any combination of the same color. So you might have like all hearts, all spades, all clubs. And so it's you have to have 5 though. So you have to make a flush, you have to have 5 cards. Then a straight is any 5 cards in order. So, 2, 3, 4, 5. And again, it's valued based on what the number is. A straight flush is if you have all of them in the same suite. So, hearts, clubs, or whatever. And they're in order. 2, 3, 4, 5. And the highest that you can get, which is very rare to get, is the royal flush. And the royal flush is Jack, Queen, King, Ace, and 10. So in that order, it's a straight, it's a flush, but it's the highest straight flush you can get. And it's very rare. And there you go. It's easy to think of them as like numbers though. High card is worth 1 point, pair is worth 2 points, 3 of a kind is worth 3, 2 pair 4, etc., etc., etc. And you just want the highest number. It's just the highest because you have to have 5 cards to make a royal flush, to make a flush or a straight. And so 10 is the highest card that you can have without, including the ace, before you hit the face cards. Exactly, exactly. It's not, the 10 itself is not royal, but it's because of all the royalty in it. I'm trying so hard. But yeah, if y'all have any questions about any games or anything and you all want me to explain it, please let me know. Tomorrow we're going to be reading through the Player's Handbook. I'm going to read that tonight and make some notes. And that way, I can walk you all through the basics in the intro part of D&D. And this is how to be a player, not how to be a DM yet. We'll do a how to be a DM another day. I need to get a copy of the Player's Handbook just to, double track, and I can walk you all through it together. But I can explain things like AC, all that stuff.
You better sleep your way to salvation, my friend.
What happened?
Just usual.
Poor bastard.
Exactly.
Well, thank you, Mr. Morgan. I'll keep an eye on him.
He was lucky this time. Real lucky.
You know what it is, chat? It's just I really, really like learning about certain things. I love reading. We will be doing we'll be doing 5e, so we're going to be starting with 5e. 5e is very player friendly, and it's going to be what most people are going to stumble upon in the wild right now. But I like reading, and every once in a while there'll be a game or something that I understand, and so I look it up and I try to figure it out. And I always like the idea of, being the guy who just, stumbles into town, plays a game of cards, starts talking to people, that kind of thing,
You okay, Abigail?
Settling in?
So that's why I know these games. Do y'all know how to do blackjack? Blackjack's very simple. I can walk y'all through blackjack, too. Do I play Magic the Gathering? I have in the past. It's been a while. Yes, blackjack is the 21 one. But I do like Magic. I can walk y'all through Magic. Oh, Mostworth, do you not know Magic? Awesome. And you're curious about Magic. Yeah, no, I would love to teach you about Magic. Like any kind of game. Magic the Gathering is a trading card game that is also a series of books. In Magic the Gathering, you are a planeswalker, a being of immense power, and your deck is basically like the spells that you can cast. You draw powers from the land, and you use the power from the land to summon creatures, cast spells, create enchantments, and all sorts of things. That brings you to the basic kind of rules of Magic. In Magic, you have stages of the turn. I'll have to look up the turn stages at one point, but the essential rules are this. You have a deck, maybe 50, 60 cards. You have a source of power that you need to collect called land. And you can only collect one source of power per turn, basically. So you draw from the deck, you hope you find a land card, you put the land down, and then you have your spells and abilities. Lumi Skullgirl, welcome, welcome, welcome. Hello, 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 hello. Hello, everybody. Can we get a shout out for the lovely, lovely, lovely Lumi and Lumi won? Congratulations, Lumi, on winning. Do you know what that means, Lumi? You know what that means, Lumi. You've been here long enough to get gifted a sub. Since when do I stream long enough for you to raid me? That is insane. Get a free sub, nerd. Hello, everybody. My name is LuckyJene, and I am here to entertain you. Well, actually, we're talking about Magic the Gathering. But yes, hello, everybody. I'm a gambler, a writer, a flirt, and I apparently have a nice enough voice to have people come watch me. What were y'all doing? What were you doing? What were you streaming? What were you gaming? Let me do this. Boop-a-doop-boop. Shout out, Lumi Skullgirl. You were playing Makers and Crafting? What nerdy thing were you doing? What were you making? I gotta know. What were you making? Oh, also, if you need a raid and run, feel free to do so. Lovely, lovely chatters. I hope you had a lovely time at Lumi's. If you also need to take a rest or take a little snack break or whatever, feel free to do so. The stream will be here when you come back. Thank you for the follow, Cooking Sage, and thank you for the follow, Jan is a boy, and thank you for the follow, Tin, and... Lumi, fine. Ooh, thank you so much for the redeem. There you go. You happy? You fucking happy? I don't know why I still have that. I'm also mildly amusing. Oh, yeah, no, I've heard about the mildly amusing part. For fuck's sake. You would raid into me and then immediately attempt to embarrass me. Why are you like this, Lumi? No! Arf, arf, I'm such a cute little puppy. Why? That one I was paid for. Con artist by trade. Lumi, who are you conning? Just go up to me like, hi, everybody, you know, this snake oil is totally real. Give me your money. You heard it here, chat. Lumi's chat. Lumi's this con artist. They be conning.
It's me, Arthur.
But yes, go check out Lumi, chat. Lumi is lovely. They're so cool. And they cosplay as VTubers. So just imagine, chat, if we become big enough, Lumi will dress up as me and will be a hot version of me. Not saying I'm not a hot version of me, but like, damn. Okay. But yes, if you need a raid and run, please feel free to do so. We'll mayhaps. What if what? Mayhaps what if what? Sorry, Chad, I need to... Oops. I need to kill these guys real quick. Give me a second. J-Dog cosplay? I would die. I would die if somebody did a LuckyJene cosplay. Uh-huh. La da 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 da. You know it's the end of the world. You've been following Lumi for over a year? That is insane. Oh, it's so cool. All right, we're going to start from the top with magic. Are y'all all still wanting to listen to me talk about magic for a little bit? I'll explain the basics as well as the lore. Magic the Gathering. Alright, so in Magic the Gathering, you are a planeswalker. A planeswalker is a spellcaster of sorts that draws their power from planes or the land. Each spellcaster usually draws power from, like different kind of lands. Fire, swamp. Oh, so technically it's the mountains. So the mountains, the swamps, the forests, the islands, that kind of thing. So, as a planeswalker, you need to collect the magic of the land to cast your spells. And thus we have the game system that there is. It starts with, you drawing your cards and hoping you stumble upon a land card. The land card represents the power that you're able to draw from the land. You put it down. And you are allowed to use that land, because it's that kind of magic, to summon creatures and spells from that same type. Because, a creature from the mountains can only be brought forth from with the power of the mountains. A creature from the plains can only be brought back by the power of the plains. That sort of thing. Can we pay bounty?
How can one crook raise so much hell?
God. All of our money immediately lost. Now,
thank you for your help.
Part of the game is that you can only bring out one power per turn. Doesn't matter how much land you have, you can only draw one power. And so you place the land, and then when you've used that power, you've expelled it from your body, it's useless and you have to wait for it to recharge again to the next turn. Simple enough. Okay? Wait, what's happening? I shot her. No witnesses. No witnesses. Shit. No witnesses. Okay, but yes. So, when you build your deck, usually build it based on the kind of cards you want, right? If you want cards from the mountains, you want cards from the forest, whatever. Each cards usually have traits. Cards from the forest are stronger, bigger creatures. Cards from the mountains are fire-based. They deal a lot of damage, quickly. Island cards are a lot of, magic and illusions. Planes are a lot about healing. So that's what you build. You had theme your deck based around that kind of stuff. Now, the longer the game goes on, the more power you're able to accumulate, land, and the bigger spells you're able to cast. Bigger spells take more power, naturally. And so, as the game progresses, the spells that you're going to summon are going to be bigger and stronger. There's going to be all sorts of cards that have all sorts of effect. This does not matter for the basics. We're just going to focus on the very basics. Power allows you to bring out cards, and cards get stronger as time passes because you're able to bring out more power. Finally. You have, I think it's 20 HP, 20 health. So, if you go down to 0, the game is over. You get killed, dead, knocked out, whatever you want. And so the goal of the game is to defeat the other planeswalker across from you, using your spells, power, etc., before they take you down. Does the basics make sense, chat? Do you understand the basics? You pull power, you can only pull so much power, and bigger things need more power. Hello, Bloody Cigar, how you doing? I'm not a kitten, I'm not a cat. Good. Now, we'll go one level above. Okay? So, in Magic, since you're a planeswalker, you're doing... how are you doing? I'm glad you're doing good, Cigar. Since you are a planeswalker, you're like a commander of an army. You give out commands. You do not direct, okay? So, let's say you have a dog in front of you, or you have a soldier in front of you. You tell them to attack the other army. Shit. Oh, sorry. Okay, so since you're a planeswalker, you're like a commander in an army. You do not tell your soldiers to... how dare you, Maple? To attack a specific soldier, you tell them to attack the other army. So when a battle is happening, you say, I would like this character to attack. And the enemy player gets to choose who they send out to block it. That is one of like the starting basics of the combat. Oof. Each... Thank you, Jibbits. Each creature has a toughness, which is... God damn it! Each creature has a toughness, which is how much damage they can take. Like an AC, exactly. Each creature has basically... Well, not exactly. Kind of. Each creature has a toughness. A toughness is the number that's going to be like its health number. And it can take up to that much damage from any source. So this means if a person attacks, let's say you want to defend... You're attacking with your creature, and it has 8 toughness. So the enemy player has 2 creatures, one that has a 4 attack, and one that has a 5 attack. Now, by themselves, they're not going to be able to defend that creature, like, completely, right? He has 8 toughness, he won't die from that attack. But you can have both of those creatures defend against that creature, and because you've overcome its toughness, you've beaten how much damage it can take, it'll die. Kind of like an AC. No. You don't have to take notes. We're just kind of talking about Magic. So, that is a thing that you always have to consider. That toughness is it's like an AC, pretty much, and that you can combine things to take that AC on. Next, also though, is the attack. So you have the 2 stats on any creature is going to be, or 3 stats. You're going to have the mana cost, which is how much power it takes to bring it out. You're going to have the attack, which is how much damage the creature is going to deal. And you're going to have the toughness, or defense, which is how much damage that creature can take. Attack matters most when you're attacking. Defense matters most when you're defending. Why am I a dog now? Does the combat part make sense? Just the simple, like, you want to beat the other person, and you want to have a higher number. I am a doggy. Cool. You know what, chat? We'll play Magic the Gathering sometime. I will. Don't freeze the doggy. You can hopefully play the dog. Okay, we'll play Magic the Gathering, and I will walk you all through the basics. It's a lot easier to have the cards in front of it. It is fun. Magic is a lot of fun, chat. Chat, where's my gun?
Let's see about this.
I knew you were too scared.
Don't you pull a gun on me? Chat, he pulled a gun on me. What was I supposed to do? I can't believe I stabbed him, man, though. Oh, you're right, you're right. Let's see if this guy got me worms. Now, I'm going to make it really confusing for you. You ready? So, while you have all the basics of, like, how every monster works, there are so many more cards, and there's so many different ways that, like, the fighting thing happens. Something like instants, sorceries, and stuff. Different cards can play at different times because you know how quickly you can cast them. And so, like an instant, you can play whenever. A sorcery, you have to play on your turn. Equipment goes on to creatures. All these little card effects. And on top of that, you have things like trample, which means even if, so here's the thing I like about Magic. No, this one's gonna be simple, okay? Here's the thing I do like about Magic. If I send you to have a battle, right, a fight, and you two fight, if my creature dies, like if the battle loses, the thing is, you still had a fight that wasn't near me. It's not gonna hurt me, right? Like if you send soldiers to a battlefield, the commander's not gonna get hurt. Only the soldiers are gonna die. And so you have a creature that has 11, 12, 20 attack. I can send my squirrel that has 1 attack and 1 health. You fought the squirrel in the field. You're not near me. I take no damage. I don't get hurt at all. And I think that makes sense, you know? But there are characters that have a thing called trample. And the idea of trample... Yeah, your attack does 11 damage or whatever. But you're a squirrel. Yeah, no. But no, my squirrel, not I'm a squirrel. My squirrel. It's like having a pet squirrel. Imagine you're playing Pokemon. Just because Pikachu dies does not mean that Ash gets hurt. The squirrel's dead. Pikachu's dead. Ash is fine. So am I. Why is that thing screaming? It died. It's a possum. It's playing dead. I'm sorry I said Pokemon. I'm sorry I said Pokemon. It's not like Pokemon. Chat, we're just going to sit here and wait. No, but okay, so one of my favorite decks is a squirrel deck. So squirrels are small and they're 1/1, right? Like they have like no damage. Treat. Didn't make it. All right. But yes, okay, so a squirrel is really small, right? And so you can make a deck that's all about... Yes, you can make a deck that's all about making squirrels. So you have this player who is summoning dragons, right? 1 second, we gotta help. Chat, where are they? Chat, I know I just heard somebody. No, you're gonna fight a dragon with 100 squirrels. He said you better shut up your mouth or I'm gonna shut it for you. And there was some girl screaming. That most definitely did happen. Chat, why wouldn't I make up something like that? I don't think there's an official, like size of your deck. I don't think there's like an official, thank you for the lurk, size of your deck that it can be. But like, yes, okay, no, okay, so hear me out, chat. Here's how a squirrel deck works, okay? A squirrel deck, you'll start with a squirrel, right? And then you get another squirrel, and you'll get another squirrel. And then the squirrel is going to have an ability that every time the squirrel attacks, you bring out another squirrel. But then you get another card that says every squirrel that attacks is going to make another squirrel. And so suddenly you have 5 squirrels, and then your 5 squirrels become 10 squirrels, then your 10 squirrels become 20 squirrels. Now, if the player has one dragon, right? A dragon that has massive strength, it can only block one squirrel. So if I send 100 squirrels at you, the dragon eats one squirrel. The 100 squirrels eat you. Same with a rat deck. And so you call all the squirrels from all of the forests, and they all come, and you have 100 fucking rodents eating everything. And it's so cool. I love those kind of decks. Like, okay, I told you like how there's the mana cost, so how much land you need to play, the power that you need, the toughness, and the attack, okay? Cards often have one more thing, which is an effect. So you might have a card that has a Death Touch, and Death Touch is even if this card does not kill, the creature that it's fighting dies. So like, let's say you have a snake, right? The snake has poison, you hit the snake hits you. It only did 1 damage, but you got poisoned, so you die anyways. So Death Touch. Magic the Gathering, yes. Now, Squirrel will have a thing that'll be like, okay, for every squirrel, you bring another squirrel. And then for every squirrel that's currently on there, every squirrel is now stronger. And then for every like additional thing, so like it'll be like, oh, you get +1 for every squirrel you have. So you have 2 squirrels, 5 squirrels, 6 squirrels. Now all the squirrels are increasing each other. And it's so much fun. It's goofy. All sorts of decks. They're great. Well, no, squirrels are just goofy. I like squirrels because they're goofy. I also like minotaurs. I play a minotaur deck, and minotaur deck is every minotaur does blah, blah, blah. So, like, let's say you have one minotaur that makes everybody stronger by 2 points. Well, now every minotaur gives you +2. And then I don't know. I don't have a gun, by the way. All I have is a knife. Oh yeah, and that's why we'll play a game. We'll play a game sometime, chat. I think it'll be a lot of fun. There it is.
I don't care what the story is, lady. You're going in. Who's back there, anyway?
What's the matter with you?
Please, get me out of this damn cage! Fella, he's a bad man, but I was no part
Damn it.
You think you're the first woman to use that line?
Chat, I don't have a gun. Hey, chat, can somebody give me a gun, please? Can anybody give me a gun?
Here, I'll break your jaw. Clear the way. I won't ask again.
Ah, it's on my horse. No! All right, we're gonna try this, chat. Shit. Give me a gun. No witnesses. No witnesses. Oh, fuck, come on. Damn it.
That horse don't listen.
That ain't fair. That ain't fair. Maple, no! Maple, why? Why do you like this, Maple? Pomo, I'm sorry you can't sleep. He's gone. He's gone. Anything help you sleep, Pomo? Yeah, apparently I'm probably with the ladies, chat. Let me go! Let me go! Where the fuck is my horse? I got it. Chat, I'm gonna allow y'all to reset my morality later. I hope you know. No, not the lawman. Don't pick up. Stop picking up the lawman. Leave him. There we go. Ah, fancy hat.
Not again.
All right. I did not have a choice, Chad. I did not mean to shoot the horse. All right. All right. Finally. The horse did deserve better. I did not mean to shoot the horse. I was gonna pick that one up. $145 I just paid off. Okay, well. I was trying to save one woman from her abusive boyfriend. I just happened to accidentally shoot her. You can't blame me for that one, chat. You can't blame me for accidentally shooting her instead of the boyfriend, okay? Don't you know it's the end of the world? I am gonna reset my morality. Da, 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 da. Wait, where is it? Okay, well, where is it? Where is it? Where is it? Full heal, give hatchet, give sniper rifle, heal player, infant, heal horse. It's all nearby. Do. I don't have the option. Where'd it go? We'll have to figure it out later. Anyways. I'm trying to be a good person, chat. But the one time I was trying to be a good person, you killed the man I was talking to. You killed the guy I was talking to, chat. I was trying to be a good guy, and you killed him. And then you send women after me every single time. Yeah, Aura. Huh? Who would do that? It just keeps happening, okay? And so the versus, like, you know, all the women, which we're trying to be good, chat. I am going to try to see a way I can reset morality. And then from then on, I'm just not killing anybody in ambushes. I will run from ambushes or I'll let them kill me. The ladies love to beat the fuck out of Arthur. You're right, he might. Tough love. Beating ain't love, chat.
Get the hell out of here.
Oh, don't you know it's the end of...
Get yourself away from me! Stop right now or you're dead! Help me! Watch yourself. You gotta be smarter than that. Come on now.
Alright, what's the point of this?
You know this ain't worth the trouble you'll find. Please, God, no!
I thought I could make some money off of this. Am I stupid to think that me robbing... I thought I could rob a train.
This is your last mistake.
You have a choice, sir. Do you want to die?
You're breathing your last breath.
One more choice. Come on, sir. Oh, well.
Stop right there. Listen here.
Yeah. What's wrong with me robbing a train alone? It's easy enough. I figured I could make some money off the train. Can I not make money robbing a train? Oh, there we go. See, there's cartridges. Oh, and you froze me. And you froze. No, let me out. Let me out. There is nothing worthwhile on this train. Damn. Well, I got bear bait, chat. I got animal bait. I got random. I've got no money. I got hair solution. Canned peas, chat. It's all worth it. I got canned peas. I got canned peas. At least canned peas make it worth it, chat. Alright, well.
You won't be a man for much longer. We'll leave you to rot by the side of the road.
It's fine, chat. I'm escaping. Chat, I got a train. I got a train, chat. That is what this was really all about. I really wanted to drive a train. Also, thank you for the follow, by the way. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. Hello, 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 lovely new people. Mercy and Ippy, how you doing? How you doing? Livy, hello, Livy. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Go drive the train. Whee! The train might be a vehicle. Why are you asking? It might be a vehicle. I don't know. Oh, that's what's happening. That's what. Fuck. No, let me get back in. Let me back in. No, no, no. Let me in. Let me in. No, no, no. No, no, no. Fucking get back in. No, let me in the. That's fine. God damn it. Let me ride the train. No. No, not the freeze. Not the freeze. Let me go. Let me go. The freeze! Ah! Let me go! Let me go! Let me go! God damn it! No! All right. All right. All right. We have gone an extra half an hour over stream time. We even started late. It has been 3 hours, 20 minutes. It has been lovely, chat. But it is time for me to look to see if I can find somebody to raid. We're going to take a quick look here to see how we're doing today. 36 viewers. Very, very nice. All right, chat. Let's see if we can find something to raid into. Shiny, I'm so sorry, but this is how it has to go. You know what's always annoying, chat? Like, I know people like doing collabs, but it is such a pain trying to raid into somebody doing collabs. You know? Because, like, you don't know the energy of the people with them. Mm-hmm. Oh. I love her. She's reading books. There's no way Aura's live? Oh, Anaru. Who's Anaru? Who's Anaru? Anara? Addy, who are you talking about? I don't say anybody with that name. Are you sure that's how his name's spelled? Because ANURA is currently not live. Oh, don't give me half names. Oh my god, chat. Oh. Oh. Gotcha. Actually, I think I want to raid into... I want to raid into somebody different today. Who do we have? Papa Yokai. Lupo. Pinky is live. You know what? We'll say hi to Pinky. Y'all be good with Pinky. Pinky's lovely. Pinky's a mod. Pinky deserves support. So we'll go say hi to Pinky, okay? Everybody, you go say hi to Pinky for me. Behave yourselves. Be good. Be lovely as always. I know you're gonna be great. I know you're gonna be so sweet and fancy and sassy, and you're gonna lick people. So chat, go lick them. Give them lots of licks. I'm just kidding. Don't do that. Do not do that. Do not give them licks. I will see y'all next time, lovies. For now.